Hello, I'm Esme Murphy, and welcome to Talking Points. Next November's election may seem a really long way off, but on February 3rd, during the GOP and Democratic caucuses throughout the state of Minnesota, voters will begin the process of deciding who will be their nominees for really key races. And no contest is tighter than the Minnesota GOP race for governor. I've interviewed the GOP top candidates in other formats recently, and this time I'm having a conversation with Mike Lindell. You probably know him from being the MyPillow guy. He has just finished consistently in the top 4 in all recent straw polls. Mike Lindell, thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Why are you running for governor?
I'm running for governor. I love Minnesota. I was born and raised here, and I think that I've seen so many problems that I believe this is what I do. I fix problems. I've run great companies as a CEO, and I think running, I'm not a politician. I don't claim to be. I want to be the greatest governor Minnesota's had, where you address everything like a CEO and solve all the problems that people. They asked me the other night, they go, Mike, what would be the first thing you do? I said, I want to address everything, and I put great teams around me, and I just want to save the American dream for Minnesota. I've lived it.
Okay, well, as I said, you have finished in the top 4 in a whole bunch of these straw polls. It's a very competitive race. Mm-hmm. I do want to ask you, Minnesota is really sort of in the midst of almost a war at times, it seems, between the federal government and our state government. I know you have strong feelings about the Operation Metro Surge and the ICE efforts led by President Trump, ordered by President Trump here. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is one of the biggest problems we have here is our protester laws are not being addressed. They're not. You shouldn't be able to sell. I have friends downtown. As you know, I lived downtown Minneapolis when I quit all my addictions back in the day, and I talk to them almost daily, and they're getting blocked on sidewalks and in streets. And in others, like in Minneapolis, there's a law you have to get permits and stuff, and I just think those need to be changed. I think. We've got to make our city safe. Do you support
what ICE is doing here?
Absolutely. We have to everywhere. I mean, even in Washington, D.C., when they first came out with it, the mayor of Washington, D.C. said, hey, it's making our city safe. And that last year we had the lowest, I believe, murder rates in the history of our nation. We have to get these murders, rapists, and stuff that came in illegally, we have to get them out of our country or behind bars.
How about the shooting of Renee Good? Everybody's seen the video many, many times. Your thoughts on that?
Well, you've looked at it from different angles. It was defense. I mean, that's what they're saying. It was self-defense, and that comes down to you shouldn't be able to commit crimes protesting. And that if that wouldn't have never happened if she wasn't committing a crime, blocking a street or blocking people and coming up and down sidewalks. And this is where it goes. This is where it is. If you enforce your protest laws, everybody has a right to protest. But these things, these things that are happening, and they'll continue to happen if you have protesters that break laws. And going after our federal government, which they're ordered to do. They have families too.
Yeah, just quickly, because there's so many other questions I want to ask you, but there have been numerous reports. We have seen them. We've talked to the people who are American citizens who've been detained by ICE, later released. The tactics are sometimes difficult to look at. You've got people on the ground, their faces in the snow. Do you support ICE tactics and some of their procedures where they have been arresting Americans and temporarily detaining them?
To me, that's subjective. I haven't seen the evidence, and if you're hearing it on our local news, I think we have some of the worst local media in the nation, starting with the Star and Tribune. I think there's a lot of false reporting, so I'd have to look in to see if those things are really happening.
Well, as a member of the local media, I do have to defend this. These are very difficult times, and I think we're doing a fair job in representing
I can pinpoint the Star and Tribune more than our local.
Okay. President Trump, who you have been so loyal to, at a great expense to yourself, we can get into that a little bit later, was asked a number of weeks ago what he thought about you running for governor of Minnesota, and he said, Mike Lindell deserves to be governor of Minnesota. Do you take that as an endorsement?
No. And what I took it as is I have spent millions, tens of millions of dollars trying to secure our elections. This wasn't with Donald Trump. This is everyone says, oh, Mike, you bring baggage into this because you fought these electronic voting machine companies, which we're winning. Everything's coming out. I want to secure our elections.
You've had a $2.3 million judgment against you. from one of the executives of Dominion.
No, that's under appeal, and Dominion's and Smartmatic's under indictment now from Venezuela. That's where it all started. So the 2.3, these are all in appeal. They're still in the courts, and it's and that's me personally. MyPillow was totally vindicated. This was a corrupt court in Colorado. And that's in appeal, and that will all go away. It's sitting with the judge.
There's also a $5 million judgment in a contest.
No, I won that. That was appealed. The 8th Circuit here in Minneapolis, they overturned that. They said Mike was right. His evidence is good. They tried.
I don't think the 8th Circuit said that, Mike.
8th Circuit, 100%. You got wrong information, Esme.
Okay.
100%. I was vindicated.
Okay,
I won that.
Let me ask you. So all these judgments against you.
Are
you broke or are you bankrupt?
No, I'm not bankrupt. I haven't declared bankruptcy. It's like this. MyPillow was the most attacked company in history. It's called Operation Arctic Frost, but you can look it up by our own government, by Biden administration. The DOJ, the FBI, they came after me because I wanted to secure our elections. They came out, they took my phone at a Hardee's in Mankato. This is all public. You can read all about it. Now I was able to guide a company, the most attacked, through the storm, and I'm still standing.
Yeah, and is MyPillow still standing?
Yeah, that's what I just said. And MyPillow is still standing. Of course we are. We're doing great.
We reported on you being evicted from warehouses and.
No, we moved to a smaller warehouse. Now we had 2. We got rid of 1 because of all the attacks on our retail, where the retails, remember I was the most canceled person in history because they did not want me talking about our elections.
Right. What are the things that you want to do as governor? Because you have a lot of support for your race for governor. What are some of the top 3 things you'd like to do?
My number one thing is when I came out of addiction here in Minneapolis, and I started working with what you call them, these welfare programs with private companies like Teen Challenge, Salvation Army, Union Gospel. I spent tens of millions setting up another system for these welfare programs using the private sector. So all these, we have all this fraud. I want to take, obviously, the fraud. If you take that out of the mix, I want to look at these welfare programs and bring the costs down and see which ones are good, because people didn't get that money that was stolen.
Because you benefited from the programs.
What's that?
You benefited from the programs. I mean, didn't you get help from Teen Challenge and some of these other places? No,
I helped them. I quit by the grace of God overnight. I helped them. I gave millions of dollars to help people, tens of millions around. That's what we were helping people, hurricane victims, homeless. I tested this in Detroit. We ran a test. It saved 40%. I was the government, paid all the money then, and it saved 40%. So what I've said in some of my debates, if we take these programs and improve them and streamline them so you get a good return on your investment that help the people that need the help. Now you bring the costs down. If you can bring them down 40%, people in the private sector, they want to help, but they want to help. They're partial to things they want to help. And if you do that, now what are you going to do with those savings? Now I'm going to go after the property tax. Property taxes in this state, our school systems are used by bonds that they're financed by bonds. And then when they don't have enough money, they raise property taxes. Our school system, we pay 29% more money now in our schools, and we went from like 3rd to 39th. So I'm going to really address our education.
This is in terms of test scores,
in our education. I really want to address that and bring our property taxes down. And there's, and then we talk about healthcare. Healthcare, that's one of the things hurting people so much. I want to bring down, come up with a better system. Minnesota used to have great health care. Back when you go back 10 years to MinCare, whatever, there were great things, and that structure needs to be brought back to Minnesota. And
so
then there's
redoing MNsure in some way?
Yeah, it was great back then. And I want to look into, what they did to take that away, because health care went through the roof and people can't afford it. And the other thing I want to do for Minneapolis, I do want to bring this up, for the cities, we have to bring people back down here to Minneapolis, like for the retail stores and small businesses. We're sitting right here, and like this Christmas, 2 weeks before Christmas, people weren't shopping and stuff like they were. I want to get sales tax, eliminate sales tax, so people have a reason to go into the box stores. You got sales tax.
Eliminate sales tax on
just on the box stores, not online. You still like MyPillow and Amazon. If you're going to buy online, you're going to pay that. If you want to buy physically, you need a benefit to go to those stores, to physical shop. These are common sense solutions. I'm going to look at each thing and say, hey,
Okay.
how can we make this better to
So
help all
eliminate the sales tax on retail,
the retail,
the brick and mortar
the
stores.
brick and mortar, absolutely.
Sure.
And
Okay.
charge,
So they can better compete with
Amazon,
with
and
Amazon.
MyPillow online.
Online.
You know,
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Mike Lindell, I know that you are in the top of the heap there, and it's a very competitive race. There are a lot of candidates that have a lot of qualifications. We certainly appreciate your coming in and doing
thank
this.
you. And if they want more information, it's MikeLindellGov.com, MikeLindellGov.com. I really have great solutions, common sense solutions. I love Minnesota, and I want to save the American dream. I've lived it, Esme, you know that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. That's it for this edition of Talking Points. As always, please email me with any comments and questions at esme@cbs.com. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Esme Murphy, WCCO News.